How much will Michigan pay Oregon if Ryan Day gets fired?
No, we want him.
We want, no, that's right. Yeah, we want him to stay. We want him to stay.
We don't want Ryan Day to get fired.
We need to pick who's going to be playing Texas. Is it going to be Ohio State or Oregon?
Oh yeah, this is going to be.
That's the game we're going to next. This is the rematch.
He's probably putting something stupid on. Watch.
Probably, yeah. This is the rematch that everybody was expecting in the Big Ten championship, but James Franklin backed his way into it. I wonder how long I can keep talking to see if he comes back or not.
I was waiting for him to come with that Burger King crown.
We were talking about it's hard to beat a team twice in the same season. I don't know why that would be, though. I mean, if you've got the film on them, if you've played them, why couldn't you beat a team twice?
Just statistically, it just doesn't happen a lot. I think that's why.
Yeah.
Washington did it last year.
Yeah, it's rare, but it does happen occasionally. But I think just statistics show it's difficult. I don't think there's any really rhyme or reason we can point to.
All right.
There's no rhyme or reason to anything Justin says.
It's just one of those football things. All right.
Let's go with that.
Ben, the rematch. Who do you got?
This year has been special.
Oh, God.
I'm crying, Ryan. He's about to go 0-3 against the Ducks. I'm not even going to talk statistics or why. Just give me the Ducks.
Going for the Ducks. All right. Bryce.
Let's go. That was enough for me. Right there.
All right.
You just said they might go all the way, and now you got them losing the second round.
I know. That's how easily my mind can be changed when it comes to Ryan Day.
I've heard Bryce say on his show that he is an emotional picker. So
I love that.
Yeah,
or emotional game
I'm a
caller.
terrible gambler.
Yeah.
Yep.
But when I win big.
That's why you and Mac always pick the same game.
I stopped betting about 2 years ago for that reason.
Yeah.
Justin, who you got?
So Ohio State, I know Oregon is very fast, very explosive. Defense didn't look really good at all. They looked pathetic in the Big Ten title game. I expect Ohio State to come out and not allow those explosive plays that they did in the first game. I mean, I think they rushed them out, those receivers out there, and I think they just kind of beat Ohio State to the spots, with their defenders. And I think Ohio State's going to be a little more prepared for that this time. Their line does have to play better. I will say that. They probably need to force a couple turnovers, get after the quarterback, run the ball, slow the game down, limit possessions for Oregon, and I think Ohio State wins.
Ooh, you went for Ohio State? All right. Max, should I just put Oregon in here?
Yep.
Who you got?
Oregon. Yeah, you're good.
Oregon? All right.
Yeah. I mean, you guys say, it's difficult to beat a team twice. It's, and Oregon looked bad. Their defense looked bad against Penn State. Derp to derp. Yeah. It doesn't matter. Ryan Day is Ryan Day. Chip Kelly's going to try and run up the middle at some point. I understand he's got a Michigan problem, though. It doesn't matter against anybody else. Yeah, but he's got a top 5 problem, too. So, sorry, guys. Oregon's going to win this one. If it even happens. I mean, I called Tennessee to beat Ohio State, so.
Yeah.
If it's Oregon versus Tennessee, watch out.
How much will Michigan pay Oregon if Ryan Day gets fired?
No, we want him.
That's right. Yeah, we want him to stay. We want him to stay.
We don't want Ryan Day to get fired.
All right, Rob. I know you've done the research. You've looked at the stats. You're not an emotional game caller. What do you got?
All right. So I really liked how they played Oregon the first, even though they lost. They lost because they beat themselves. It wasn't so much Oregon won the game. It's just that Ohio State had way too many mishaps, penalties, then that last minute blunder. But I really like what I saw as the season went on. And Mac, to your point that, they have a top 5 problem. You were all up in Indiana like the whole season. They beat a top 5 Indiana, and Penn State's absolutely better team this season than they were previous. But it's just that Ohio State's just a way better team. You saw what Penn State did in the Big Ten title game. They put up over 400 yards and like 37 points. Ohio State held them to 13 points. And I don't know the total yards, but what I'm saying is that I think that I'm going to continue to say this. Ryan Day has a Michigan problem. You know, those soft comments, those tougher team comments. Where is Lou Holtz? You know, every time he plays Michigan, he thinks about that, and I just think that he's going to learn his lesson. You know, they just have such a good offense, NFL ready receivers. They're not going to, I don't think they run down the middle. That would be idiotic. I just think that against Michigan, trying to prove to be the tougher team, but they are a tough team, but not a ground and pound. It's, it's through the air. And they're the number one defense in the country. And going back to that first game where, just to Justin's point about the receivers, before they played Ohio State, you saw a lot of dink and dunk plays. You never saw them air the ball like they did. So I think Ohio State's going to be a lot more ready. And due to the fact it was 1 point game in a hostile environment, previously Oregon was 36-1 at Autzen Stadium, and now it's on a neutral field. Give me Ohio State.
Ohio State.
Yeah, I expect a lot of outside zone and GT counters from Ohio State's offense. And to his point about beating themselves, you have an expert here in knowing how to beat yourself. And so I concur.
In all fairness, too, Ryan Day doesn't just have a Michigan problem. He's also 0-2 against Oregon, including a Mario Cristobal, Anthony Brown team. So just remember that.
Yeah.
They played twice.
Now,
but Ducky brings up a good point here, though, with Ohio State's O-line. And
this game, whether it's Ohio State or not, Oregon definitely is in this game, and it's going to be on January 1st. This is a January 1st game. Will Ohio State's line be healthy by then? If this game happens, because we're now into speculation territory, if this game happens, is Ohio State's O-line healthy enough to play this game?
Is Will Howard healthy enough?
What I want to say about that is, look at how Ohio State is when their linemen have to drop back in pass protection. They were doing good against Michigan. They just decided offensive coordinators decide to, run the ball. And they weren't that bad in pass protection pretty much all season. I'd say the Nebraska game was an outlier, but, if they pass the ball and they stick to what works for them, I'm just saying, like, Ohio State's offensive line, they're good in pass protection. That's all.
And I think even more so too, running the ball successfully, because then you're not going to be able to pin your ears back. If they're running the ball on you, your defensive line is not going to be able to pin their ears back and just come after the quarterback, because the running game is what's going to get the defense on their heels. That's what Nebraska shut down when we played Ohio State. And that's kind of what allowed our defensive line to pin their ears back. And so I think a successful run game is going to be key here. Like I said, I expect a lot of outside zone, a lot of GT counters, but I think they'll be able to make it work.
What's a GT counter?
It's just a college variation of a counter. It's a little different than it's run. The NFL runs it sometimes, but it's more so run in college. But I would have to sit here and break down a lot of details for you. But it's a counter run. A counter run is basically when you step one direction and you run it like you step left. You run it right, but there's a couple gaps they choose from, and the line blocks a certain way. But yeah,
gotcha.
So this is you guys are not held to this bracket, but this is the official team rivalry bracket. So we are going with Oregon over Ohio State in the quarterfinals. Before we go to the next game, though, Rudy the Boxer says, I don't know if anybody has any info on this. Is it true that Bill Belichick went back to college because he's looking to settle down?
Yeah.
Just since Ohio State's out, for what it's worth, I have Ohio State winning the national championship.
Oh, all right.
I think he went back. I think actually Bill Belichick went back to college because he's actually trying to find a younger girlfriend.
That checks out.
24. She's getting too old.
Where's he going to go? I mean, I know he's going to North Carolina, but he's like, without Tom Brady, he's been nothing. So
he's trying. I heard he's trying to pull his old Patriots staff to North Carolina. So that should be interesting to see what happens with that.
JJ says that he's got Georgia winning the Natty. We will see. We'll get to that. We'll get to that. Rudy says if the game was in Columbus, Oregon would have lost. Yeah, I don't know where I'm not sure. Will this game be at Oregon, or is this an actual bowl game? Will this be at
Rose
the
Bowl.
Rose Bowl?
Rose Bowl.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, we've got 2 of our quarterfinals picked, and we're going to end up having Texas going up against Oregon. Now we're going to look at Penn State and Boise State.
Sam Hartman's looking downfield for Adrian
Barger almost has a one-handed catch.
Almost.